You have been cordially invited to a world of wonder and intrigue, of steam and invention, of magic and mysteries, where nobles wave playbills at scientists who, deep in thought, nearly trip over pixies delivering news to tinkerers beneath the stage of New Europa. Sit back and enjoy the scene as the actors act, the singers sing, and the players play out the adventures of Castle Falkenstein.
Hey everyone! Hello! Welcome to our fourth session of Castle Falkenstein. I am Simon at Wandering DM. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the show. Tonight I'll be playing Captain von Brandt, the elf German soldier from the French Foreign Legion. An all-around nice guy. Without further ado, let's go around the table, introduce ourselves. I will shill after. So let's start with Kenny. How are you?
I'm doing great. My name is Kenny. I am playing the pseudo-dragon, spellslinger, gun-toting Clint Smolder.
Wait, you're a pseudo-dragon?
What?
What?
Who said that?
Next is Deirdre. Hi, Deirdre.
Hello, all. This evening, I am the wonderful Contessa Lucrezia Sofia Fioravanti. I'm here to drink and flirt and find out what's going on. That's what I'm here for. Fun times.
And last but certainly not least is PB. Hi, PB.
Hi, I'm PB, and today I'm going to be playing Isalina Atenas Montiel, a decidedly not pseudo-dragon, who's just out on her honeymoon looking to live her best life.
And to herd us around is our host, gracious host, I should say, an all-around cool human being, Chris Geary. But before we get to Chris, I need to shill. So remember, this stream is sponsored by Mage and Press. Mage and Press, the makers of Dark Matter and other books such as Taverns and Tankards. If you go to their store at store.mageandpress.com, you can get any book with a 15% discount if you use code WanderingDM. And now I'm leaving the mic up to you, Chris.
Thank you, Simon. Thank you to everyone who's watching, to everyone who's watching via YouTube. We enjoy the interactions and your patronage. I am Chris Geary. I am the host of Adventures in Castle Falkenstein, and I also am not a pseudo-dragon. But we do have an interesting episode to recap from last week.
And let's go to the recap.
And so, last week, on Adventures in Castle Falkenstein, Clint, Captain Von Brandt, Isolina, and Esme reviewed the encounter with the thief, what they knew, what they had discovered. They looked over the items left behind for additional clues, but were quickly sidetracked when their attempt to reach the bar car was thwarted by some sort of magical interference. Agitated and convinced they were being manipulated, Clint led the endeavor to pierce through the magical barrier and find the person responsible. Along the way, the group encountered a woman with a magical pocket watch and a mysterious air about her. Though she was seemingly disconnected from the cause of the time bubble, she did prove interesting to our cast. She let them know of a magical order who specializes in time-based magics, and, it turns out, she was sent to make contact with Clint about the job that led him to this very train headed to Munich. Isolina and Esme went about deducing a variety of bits of information in their own ways. Isolina focused on the people involved, came to the conclusion that Father Korsakov might be on this train somehow and responsible for the strangeness they were experiencing. It was also likely he was meeting with the Contessa, who was absent from their trek to the bar car. Esme studied the hollowed-out walking cane and concluded that it wasn't a cane sword, though it might have been originally, but instead was used to carry some sort of explosive, probably the explosive compound which burned open the safe room in the rear baggage car. Captain Von Brandt worked with Isolina to size up those trapped with them in the time bubble for interesting clues, and then later, as he is wont to do, our flirty captain wooed his way into the sleeping car of one Lady Maribel. Granted, it was after Clint had turned down her proposal. Speaking of, Clint was busy making contact with one Katarina Graven, a Bayern noble and member of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. She, our mystery lady with the magical pocket watch, was part of the group that had hired him. The two confirmed the deal and the details of Clint's target, one Jürgen Schmidt, a.k.a. Hilmar Hetzinger, a Prussian. As we closed out the evening, all went to sleep with something they'd been seeking. Who actually works for the World Crime League? Can Katarina Graven be trusted? How is Rome involved? With curious questions on our mind, let us rejoin our cast as they continue their performance upon New Europa's stage. But before we draw back the curtain and pour another drink, we will consult the fortune deck as we do each session. What do the cards have in store for our charismatic crew? Tonight, we will be performing a past, present, future spread. And first we have our past card, the Three of Spades. Spades is the suit of intellect, of intelligence, of smarts, of intuition, deduction, so forth. 3 is the divine number. This group has indeed been blessed with their ability to deduce and find the truth amongst things. Currently, they are brought together by the 8 of clubs. Clubs, fire, passion, spirit. Well, they are very passionate about the spirits in which they imbibe, and it is the 8 which is internal, and it is seemingly the eternal struggle for some of them to find exactly their passions and to hold on to them dearly. What is in their future? A figure, a mysterious figure, a dominant sort with intellectual prowess. Is that their villain, their nemesis on the horizon? Someone to unveil themselves as a worthy foe to this group of teeming with heroes. With that, we will return back to the stage and raise the curtain and begin on day 2, the morning of day 2, between Leon, France, and Geneva, Switzerland. About the halfway point. Who did we decide was starting off our morning?
I can start.
Okay.
I can start. My voice is gonna settle, I'm pretty sure.
And what would you like to start with?
Um,
An awkward question, maybe?
to begin, Von Braun snores
Perfect.
and oversleeps.
Hmm.
So when he wakes up, I don't know if Lady Maribel is still in bed with him or not. Seeing as how it's her car, her sleeping car.
That's an excellent question. Let's see. I'm just going to pull a random card and see what the answer might be. So, deal one card to myself. And that ends up being the 4 of spades. Spades is a no. No, she's not there. She left probably to go and eat breakfast, as she's wont to do.
Well, then, Von Braun will start to get dressed again. And we'll take a look around the car for a moment. Is there anything in particular that stands out? Not that I want to rifle through her belongings, but she might be in league with the World Crime League.
One thing definitely stands out as you're starting to collect your things and you're rubbing the sleep out of your eye and kind of looking around the room. You'll notice a fairly burly gentleman sitting in a chair.
Ah! Lady Maribel? How drunk was I last night?
He smirks and shakes his head. The lady asked that I help you out.
Oh. Well, I mean, still early in the morning.
See you out.
But are you sure?
He pauses and kind of looks you over and goes, yes.
I mean, you know what? I'm not tipsy enough for my sharp wit. I think I'm gonna go have a drink. But you and I will meet again, big guy.
It's possible.
Before Von Bront leaves, he turns back again one more time and... Have you been sitting watching all that time? Because not that I'm not into that, but I just like to know when I'm being watched. I like to give some flair to my presentation.
He'll pause and see if you continue to ramble on for a minute and kind of let there be a little bit of awkwardness. And say, no, I came in when the lady got up for breakfast.
Tell me, are you a servant, bodyguard, major domo, brother? Not her brother.
I am not related to the good lady, no.
And I think Von Braun will keep staring at the man for another moment. Just bathe in the awkwardness and then turn around and leave. Well, then have a good day.
To you too, sir. And where do you head from there?
After I make sure I have all of my things, I will definitely head to the bar car.
Okay.
I mean, it's got to be around noon, right?
10:45-ish.
Works just as well. It's noon somewhere. Time for a scotch.
That
Oh,
works.
also, this train doesn't come with showers, does it?
Not that you have been privy to.
I need to find Tristan.
All right. He's most likely in the bar car.
Tristan.
As you make your way to the bar car, would Clint still be in the parlor car at 10:30 in the morning?
Clint would have woken up with the traffic to the dining cars for breakfast. So the first people to go get into the dining cars, Clint would have taken their feet off of the seat in front of them and tipped their hat up and gone to grab something to eat himself.
Okay. So, okay, that's fine.
So he's probably actually in the bar car.
Okay.
At that point.
What about the other three? We can backtrack to what happens before 10:30. If you are an earlier riser than that.
By 10:30, the Contessa's probably made her way to the bar. Breakfast is very simple. It's cappuccino and some pastries, because doesn't want it. Very light. But she probably would have had the conversation for her relatively early with Isolina.
Okay.
Because she did not bother Isolina after she went to bed last night, even though she said she wanted to talk. It was like, no, I'm sorry. You enjoy your honeymoon, honey. I'll see you in the morning.
That makes sense. Very polite of you. What about Isolina and Esme? Late risers, early risers?
God, no, what are we? Commoners? No, we wake up in the morning with the sun, like civil people. No,
I
yes.
feel called out all of a sudden.
If you don't want me on the train, just tell me.
We never said that. Never said that.
We wake up with the sun. Esme will probably we probably lays about for like 30 minutes, which is like a lot for us. So we're probably up about like what 6:30.
Okay.
Probably not later than 7. We go get a simple breakfast, some coffee, and some fruit. If they do not have fruit, then just like something light. And Esme will probably be off doing. Well, we'll probably return to our room since the Contessa did not come back last night. So Esme is probably working on some sort of mechanical this or that.
Mm-hmm.
And I am also writing. I'm also looking through a diary and notebook, whatever, that I write in. And I'm flipping through my pages, seeing if anything that I learned yesterday would apply to anything that has happened in the past,
Okay.
such as Korsakov. Just looking through my notes, looking through contracts and things like that, seeing if I recognize even the technology, even though it's probably more mystical than mechanical. I still want to cover all my bases. And that's what we're probably doing by the time the Contessa comes in and visits at a normal hour.
Excellent. So, okay. So you're looking at making connections between what is seemingly disparate parts for other people.
Mhm.
Got it. So that happens early in the morning. would one person going by Clint be the one that wakes him, or would it take a little bit more of a more movement than that coming from the cars?
I feel like Clint's pretty on guard. And so I think any movement through the car would have woken him up. So probably with the first person who came through.
And that would have been around the time that Iselina and Esme made their way. There would have been a conductor through at some point in time, a little bit earlier, which you may have snoozed through, like seen them and kind of been like, whatever, it's the conductor.
Right.
So would you have joined them for breakfast then?
Yeah, I think so. If they looked like they weren't having like too much private time.
PB?
Yeah. No, we are just having a casual breakfast.
Yeah, so I think Clint would have made themselves known and been like, if you have extra room at your table.
Of course, sit down. Good morning, Clint. How was your night's sleep?
As restful as sleeping in the parlor car can be.
Uncomfortable, I can only assume.
I've had worse.
That is fair. Early riser then?
Usually with the sun. Gotta keep moving.
See, like civil people. See, I tell you. It's a commoner thing to wake up later. Anyways. Anyways, so so having slept on it, what are your plans for today?
Well, we have a few threads to pull on, I think. And while I want to take this on by myself, I feel like this might be just a bit bigger than me.
Perhaps just a little bit. It sounds like it is we have, like you said, we have only found the beginning of the thread. We still have much to unravel. Hopefully what the Contessa has to say will enlighten us, at least in some parts of this tale.
Well, here's hoping. I don't like unknowns.
Oh, well, they're fun until you can find out what they are. Because, eventually one always figures out the unknown.
I hope that's the case on this voyage.
I do believe so. What are you going to get for breakfast? Let us call the waiter, I don't know, the trained person over to get you something to eat.
Yeah, and so Clint will have whatever's like. I don't imagine they'd have too much variety.
It's whatever is. Well, no, actually, you've got this is a car or a train that carries both high end and common passage, so they do cater to a bit more specific tastes for their higher end clientele.
So I think Clint would order anything that resembled grits. So probably polenta.
Okay. Anything with it?
No.
Okay.
Probably like a morning tonic of some sort. If they have coffee, probably black coffee.
They do have coffee.
Thank Jesus. Yeah. Have you? Oh, I guess you are. I mean, well, you work around. Have you, during your night's sleep, come with any connections as to who or what we might be dealing with, aside from what we already know?
Not as such. I had my conversation with my employer, and that was a little bit interesting. I want to talk about it a little bit more, but I want to wait till everyone's here.
Oh, sounds good. Maybe they might relate, maybe they won't, but if anything, at least we know some people. We might be able to help you.
I appreciate that. Sometimes getting kindness is very valuable.
Well, they don't say that the Spanish are kind for nothing. Though you definitely should take a vacation while you are here. Working through country to country has to be tiring.
Not if that's what you do. That's all I do. I don't know anything else.
Well, even more reason. I will tell you. The beaches in Barcelona are some of the most beautiful you will see anywhere else, despite what anyone might tell you.
Like this whole conversation, Clint really hasn't moved from their position. Like you get the idea that this man hasn't relaxed ever.
Yeah, Isolina is just like leaning back, has her drink in one hand, is looking at you, very fluid in her movements, very relaxed. In fact, if you ever notice or ever paying attention, this is her demeanor almost at any point except when she is trying to be perceived as anything else. She's very loosey-goosey, as one might say. Also, she is very young. You will also notice she is like 20. So, like, that probably explains a lot about Isolina. But no, you should definitely come. You know, after this, after you finish your job, after our honeymoon is over in wherever we end up, whatever we end up doing, you should on the train back. You should stop by. I know Italia has some beautiful things. The Contessa goes on and on about how beautiful that country can be, and you should stop there before you get to the next assignment, at least.
I'll think about it.
At least get those shoulders a little bit more loose. Well, what is taking them so long with the food?
Finding polenta this time of day. As they bring back the food, they place it before you, and you'll see, like, during this conversation, you'll also have noticed that, like, Esme's there, but Esme is also engrossed in this sketch pad that she has, and she just keeps, like, working out something, and looking up and smiling and nodding where it would be polite to do so. When the food arrives, she, like, closes it and puts it on her lap, and then lays the napkin over top it before she eats breakfast. From there, I'm assuming once the food is done, the two newlyweds make their way back to their sleeping car, and Clint will deposit himself in the bar car. Yes.
Yep.
Excellent. So then on to the Contessa, who will have gotten up and made herself ready, which she does, and she is in no rush because you cannot rush perfection. And I'm assuming that she makes it to the dining car after they finish breakfast, because
She probably doesn't even go to the dining car.
for coffee and pastries.
Coffee and fruit she could have delivered to her room.
This is true. She has no reason to leave. So, calling the conductor then?
Yes.
It takes a little while. For
That's
some,
okay.
they seem to be a little behind today. But eventually, Rolf gets there and asks what it is you need.
Espresso. Cappuccino preferably, but I will take what I can get.
Okay.
And fruit.
And fruit. Yes, I can make that happen. He looks a little frazzled and like...
Are you not well, signore?
No. I'm just busy. Very, very busy. Yes.
Oh, yes. I noticed the small problem with the luggage car yesterday.
Yes, there was a problem with the luggage car, among other things.
Hmm.
But everybody's luggage is okay. We took an inventory.
And she kind of raises an eyebrow at that because she knows that an item that was supposed to be in a safe isn't stowed away in her stuff in her room, hidden in one of her compartments.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "Really? That is very good to know."
Yep. We made sure that everything was still perfectly fine.
That is very good to know.
Mm-hmm. And as soon as we can, we will notify all of the guests of this, so that way there is no rumors of things gone missing.
Mm. Well, then, I'm sure you are very busy, and I would not want to take up too much of your time.
I appreciate that. I will send a waiter right away.
Grazie, signore.
And he will hurry off. Well, as he can for an older, kind of portly fellow that he is. So it's more of like waddling off hurriedly. I don't know that I've described Rolf quite well enough, but think of him as kind of a pear-shaped older gentleman who facially looks like the guy from Monopoly. That's kind of what you have.
Yep.
And he disappears, and it takes a few minutes, probably around 15 or 20 minutes, before the waiter gets back to you with hot coffee, well, espresso, and fruit.
That's all she needs in the morning.
And it's a younger gentleman. It's one of the waiters from the dining car that you saw the night before. And he simply says, "Is there anything else I can do for you?"
Not at the moment. I'm sure that you are very busy this early in the morning.
Yes, I do have others to attend to, but I'm here at your service now.
But that's wonderful. If I decide, I might decide to just relax for the rest of the day. So I'll let you know.
Okay, thank you. And he rushes off. So it would be probably around this time that Iselina and Esme would hear this, because you guys, the way I imagined it is that you had sleeping cars next to one another in the same, or sleeping cabins in the same car next to one another.
Probably.
So
we planned this trip together, so it makes more sense.
So at this point, Iselina, you would note that the Contessa is up and had breakfast delivered.
Iselina, darling. Oh, Esme, it's wonderful to see you. Would you like to come join me for some coffee?
Yes, that sounds agreeable. Let's do it.
Esme will smile and excuse herself and head back to their car. She seems very intent on working out whatever it is that she's trying to work out.
The Contessa would wait, just kind of take a second to kind of scan the hallway and make sure that there's no one obviously waiting around or listening, and then close the door and be like, and switch languages immediately to Spanish.
Okay.
So how was your evening?
Interesting to say the least. You know, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, living separate lives all at once, you know, the usual.
You know, it is not my fault. I did say that I had a meeting with a very interesting gentleman who is temporally very cognizant.
Very true. Our choice to go to the bar car, though, I cannot blame you.
That was not my choice, actually. It was his, which was even stranger because he didn't drink.
The father? How odd. I don't know. Maybe there is something in the bar car. Maybe that is why it attracts us and not so much the wine.
Well, there's a person in the bar car who is a very miserant with the good father.
That is very interesting. So how did your meeting with the father go? It has been a bit.
It was fruitful. It was entertaining. I discovered quite a bit about this wonderful item. Do you think we can trust the two of them?
I do think so. At least I know Clint. I feel like we can trust him. He has many reasons to not be trustworthy, but he does not take any of them up. The Capitan, well, I do not know if he has any reason to be not trustworthy.
And his information could be useful.
It is true, but I do not know if he knows how to use information were he to get it. If, you catch my drift.
That's okay. That's what I'm for. As they say, the world may be ruled by men, but every man is ruled by a woman.
Very true. What would they do without, us? Well, we really did not find out much last night. Clint received his job from an informant from the people he works for, at least at the moment. Apparently, he is like a freelancer. He just works for whomever gives him money sometimes.
But he's honest about being a freelancer, so that means he's honest about who he's contracted with, and he'll be loyal to the contract. That's a professional I can deal with. A professional.
Exactly, yes. And I do believe the Capitan went off. Actually, not that I think about it. I did not see him where he should have been. I wonder who he ended up with last night.
Darling, that's never something you make a judgment upon. I just hope he had fun.
Very true, but with the people on this train, I wonder if he could have gotten anything from anyone.
We shall see.
Yes, I'm sure he wakes up. I haven't seen him. I did have a pleasant breakfast with Clint, though I have not seen the Capitan as of yet.
He might be working civilized. He might be sleeping until a civilized hour. It's ungodly early.
To each their own. So, Father Korsakov, do you still have the item?
It is in my possession. The good father will be remaining on the train, at least until Munich.
Let's see, I would ask more questions, but I think we have decided that the boys are trustworthy enough.
Yes, and I'm interested to see what their reaction is to certain things.
Well, I mean, if the reaction to living the same life for like an hour and a half was anything, I think they should be okay. Though Clint is not a fan of that.
Not my choice. Not my... Oh, and the captain still has my pin.
Well, the captain probably still does have your pin. You are correct. Oh, we should see him in probably... I do not know. Part of me believes that the Capitan will wake up after midday. The other half of me believes he wakes up early. We'll see which one is true.
Personally, I'm of the opinion that he's probably a good soldier. And in my experience, good soldiers sleep when they can. Because they're too busy at other times.
Contessa. Every time.
What?
I am not saying a word. I'm not saying a word. I'm merely making an exclamation. I'm sure there will be plenty of time to get to know the Capitan better.
Well, there's the Capitan, and then there's, Signore Smolder. Why do I have to choose?
Sure, I'm sure Signor Smolders will probably have more time on his hands. Well, either way, yeah, two fine gentlemen.
We're probably in the bar.
Probably. It is what I would expect anybody. Apparently, even the father.
Hmm. It's very interesting what Tristan keeps under that bar. It's kind of surprising almost.
Well, Tristan seems like a smart man.
He's very much more than he seems. But and this whole time she's like been doing up her hair very intricately, and she still the dress is a little bit more sedate than it was last night, but it's still black on black and for a nice day dress, traveling dress. And she puts the bronze hairpin back in her hair. So, is Esme joining us in the bar, or?
I do believe Esme is working on something at the moment. It seems to have her attention, at least. I'd say give her a few hours, and I think she should have resolved whatever she is fretting over.
Leave the professionals to their job.
Exactly.
Well, I'm caffeinated, but I haven't had any alcohol, so it's time to walk down to the bar.
That sounds good. Let us go.
We literally cannot spend more than 2 hours sober.
So, as you all make your way to the bar, you'll run into Clint there. Tristan's there as well. There are a couple other patrons that are in the bar car that you do not recognize. But before we get to that, we're going to go back to where we began our recap of the morning. And we have Captain Von Brunt walking with a bit of swagger, as he normally does, through the sleeping cars and into the parlor cars and on his way toward the bar car. What, if anything, besides make a beeline for the bar, would you like to do?
I'd like to keep an eye out for Lady Maribel, just because I'm not a monster and I'm not going to ignore her for the rest of the trip. And also keeping an eye out for anyone. We haven't stopped anywhere, have we, during the night?
You don't know, but you could find out from one of the conductors. If you all did stop, it didn't wake anyone.
Okay, I'm gonna ask a conductor, just to see, in case there's like, I have to keep watch for new faces, people that would poison my drink.
Fair enough.
As it were.
You'll actually bump into Frederick as he's working his way toward the front of the train, and he apologizes. He says, I'm so sorry. I was in a rush. Is there anything I can help you with before I continue on?
Oh, yeah. It's just a quick question. Did we stop anywhere overnight?
We needed to refresh the water. I believe it was around 1 or 2 in the morning. But we didn't pick up any passengers or anything. There was no official stop, just just for water.
Oh. All right. I thought I felt the train stop. Thank you.
You're quite welcome. Anything else?
Well, do you think it would be possible to go slower at night? Because the motion of the rail and the train, it sort of makes and there's a beat to it. I can't really describe it, but it you were going too fast is what I'm saying.
I will let the engineers know.
Thank you.
Okay, good then. I will see you later. And he will hurry off toward the front of the train, that's where the engineers are. So,
good man.
And as you make it through the parlor cars, you'll find in the second parlor car, the one closest to the bar car, there is one Lady Maribel reading a book and kind of watching out the window as the world goes by.
I will sit across from her, if it's possible.
Hmm. So you'll take up the chair across from her. It's plush, as these chairs are. And she'll kind of like side glance at you from her book, and then you'll watch her like place her finger on a spot on the page and give you her attention. Say, "Ah, Captain,
Lady,
I assume you're well this morning."
I assume you are well as well?
I am doing excellent.
Ah, good to know. Um, I was surprised to find a burly gentleman in the room.
Well, I didn't want to wake you.
Oh, you could have. You absolutely could have. I would rather be woken up by your beautiful face in the morning than burly gentlemen staring creepily at my naked body in the shadows.
I will talk to Herschel about that.
Now, if Urshel wanted to, that's a different,
I will leave that between the two of you to discuss the details of.
Well then, I am on my way to the bar car. Would you like anything?
No, I'm just enjoying. And she'll kind of lift up her book. It's Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. Have you read it?
Oh, I'm afraid I haven't read it. I've been away for a long time. I haven't caught up with the latest literature.
Oh, well, it is quite marvelous. Her imagination, it's fantastic.
I bet it is. I should pick it up sometimes.
I think you'd enjoy it. Not that you need help with your imaginative prowess, but it never hurts.
Well, I mean, what is it about?
It's about this man, Dr. Frankenstein, and he tries to create life, and instead creates a monster.
Interesting.
But I'm only partway in yet. I haven't quite gotten to the climax of it all.
Well, I can't really help you reach the climax in reading a book, but I don't think I could read it for you.
Fair enough. She kind of smirks.
I'm not really good at this talking thing.
It's okay. Your
Morning
mouth
after.
has much better purposes.
So I will excuse myself.
Enjoy your morning drink.
Yes, enjoy your book about monsters.
Fascinating it is.
I just saw what was written in the chat. Jesus fucking Christ. I will excuse myself and onward to the bar car.
Okay, so you make your way into the bar car, and you will find Clint, I'm assuming, is at the bar, yes?
Yes, playing high card.
Okay. And Isolina and the Contessa are at a table having a conversation. There are two others as well. Well, Tristan behind the bar, two others at separate tables, and the server is there taking care of those at the tables. Where would you like to post up?
Mr. Smolders,
Ah, good morning, Captain.
I will take a seat right next to him.
I imagine that Clint knows basically how the night ended. And so Clint would raise their head towards Tristan, and he would have asked Tristan have a pitcher ready for the captain to get clean.
This is partly the reason why I came to the bar car.
Oh, he'll point to this end of the bar, and there's a wash basin and a pitcher.
Train travel doesn't have all the facilities you could ever want, but you can scrabble some things together.
Oh, sure, and I'll start undressing.
Not in here.
Well, I mean, it's only the three of us, right? And those two over there.
I'm sure there's a lavatory that you could use.
Indeed, there are a few.
It's a human body. No, wait, it's an elven body. I'm afraid I might blind you with my stunning physique. Yeah, no, you're right. I'll go to a lavatory.
I think that'd be for the best.
There is one even in the bar car, so you don't have to go far.
Nice. Oh, Tristan, could you make me another scotch on the rocks, please?
It'll be waiting for you when you return.
Good. The captain sings when he bathes himself.
On key.
Simon doesn't sing for shit. The captain sings averagely well. Like, I don't have any skills in performance, but I could burn a card if need be.
Depends on how impressive you want to be.
It's my me time. I'm trying to impress only myself.
So again, depends on how impressive you are. I'm pretty sure, depending on the day, the Captain Von Brandt is the most important person in Captain Von Brandt's life.
What's the suit?
For performance, I believe it's a heart. Let me see. Yes, heart.
Today's gonna be a disappointing day.
Oh, but it's still a you bolstered it a little bit. It's above good. It's almost to great. So yes, it's on key.
The Contessa kind of raises an eyebrow at that.
It could be worse.
I think Clint kind of wheels around on the top of their stool and like cocks their head towards the ladies at the table, and like has almost a deadpan look. Like, all right.
What? Didn't you want to start the morning with the show?
Not quite what I had expected.
But it's entertaining.
That is one word for it.
Clint wheels back up on their stool, takes a long draw from their drink, puts it down, taps. I'm going to need another one. This is going to be a day. And you get the succinct feeling that Clint does not have a good sense of humor.
Tristan pours another drink.
Tristan, darling, there's a private room in the parlor car, no?
I believe each parlor car is equipped with 2.
And would your charming young friend, she kind of glances at the server, be available to bring us some refreshments?
Of course.
We just need to have some proper conversations. And wouldn't want to take up Well, all of your bar.
That is understandable. How many glasses and how many bottles?
4 glasses. I think 2 white, 2 red, and a bottle of Aperol. Oh, and a bottle of scotch for the gentleman.
Make it 2.
So, variety.
Oh, yes. Thank you, darling.
He'll start putting things together. Are you going to wait for the captain, or are you going to?
Oh yeah, she's going to wait for the captain. She's just going to sit here and drink this one and wait for the captain to come out.
Okay. About the time that the singing stops, the server will have actually already left and returned. I'm assuming that Captain Von Brandt does not rush Captain Von Brandt.
I mean, given our accommodations and where we are and all that, I don't think he would take too long either.
Okay.
Like, it's only a washcloth and a wash basin. It's not like a proper bath or anything, so...
No, but the water is a good temperature. The soap is nice.
Well, then maybe the length of, like, one song.
Okay. So about the time that Captain Von Brandt finishes singing and returns from the lavatory, so does the server, and the server will actually drop a key off to the Contessa, and says, I reserved the second one. It's actually in the next car over.
Thank you, darling.
My.
And as she sees the captain come out, she just polite golf claps.
I should be applauding you. It's not even noon and you already have the key of a gentleman's bedroom. Wow.
Oh no, that's not a bedroom. That's just a quiet place to have a quiet conversation, prepared with appropriate refreshments.
Well, you can call it what you will.
Are you joining?
Why not? It's not even noon yet.
Signore Smolder.
Oh?
Yes, Contessa.
Are you joining us as well?
I have some things to talk about.
Oh, that's good. I have some interesting conversation to share with you as well. And she'll kind of get up and kind of saunter across the room towards the car and just kind of flick her eye over her shoulder as if to say, like, you're coming, right?
Clint will finish his drink, pull out a generous tip for Tristan, put it on the bar, and take a look at the time on his watch, because now he's become more paranoid about time. And you'll see Clint check his pocket watch pretty much anytime he enters a car now. Close it, put it away, and then say, all right.
Iselina, darling, are you coming?
I'm right behind you.
Oh, good.
Wait, I thought Iselina
And she just
was...
kind of reaches out and grabs the captain.
But she's already on her honeymoon. Isn't that cheating?
Just keep on walking.
Walk directly into the side room that they've reserved.
I think Clint would like clap the captain on the shoulder and say, there are a few other activities that happen in groups.
Well, I can think of a few, but most of them are physical.
This one's conversational.
Oh. Not quite my strongest suit.
Clint.
Strong and silent.
Yes. So inside the parlor car, you'll find that there are 4 plush chairs, 2 side tables positioned between each of the chairs. So it's 2 on each side of the room with a small end table between them. There is no shelf or compartments within the tables. It's fairly simple. It's for people getting together for just this quiet conversation, private conversation.
The Contessa makes sure to take a seat facing forward on the train, closest to the window.
Okay.
Clint would post on the opposite side of the Contessa at the window, but looking towards the door.
Okay.
Yes, I will also seat myself in a position where I can see my compatriots, but also have a good look at the door.
All 4 of the seats will allow you to be able to see the door. None of them turn their back to the door. They all have their backs to the opposite walls. So no one has a back to the window or to the door. But that would be Contessa and Clint near the window. So either Contessa's side or Clint's side, Iselina.
The Contessa side.
Okay. And I'm assuming that the dear captain will take the other...
Yeah, I'll take the remaining chair.
Excellent. You will note that the door does have a skeleton key locking mechanism, which matches the key that the Contessa was given by the server. On each of the tables, you will find that there have been 2 glasses on each of them. Interestingly enough, they were placed on the appropriate sides. There is a bottle of scotch on the side with the 2 gentlemen. There are 2 ice cubes in the glass next to the chair that the captain is sitting in, and no ice in the other one. 2 wine glasses across between the ladies, and currently a bottle of red to start.
It's wonderful working with professionals. And she just kind of pours the red and settles in for a seat.
They are good at their jobs.
It is a semi-sweet red, by the way.
It's morning.
Exactly.
So, I apologize for apparently your difficulty getting to the bar last night.
Wait, you are able to stop time?
Oh God, no. I merely had a meeting with a gentleman who could, and he decided the best place to have that meeting was in the bar.
Well, he could have told us beforehand.
I mean, I did mention that I was going to a meeting.
No, I meant
the
occupying
bar
the bar card, yeah.
Based on what I have seen and understand, I think it's more about the fact, less about the bar and more about the fact that the kind of gentleman who runs the bar is why that meeting took place there.
What's so special about Tristan?
The very nice rifle he keeps stowed under the bar.
Okay.
And apparently he's very friendly with the good Father Korsakov.
The who, the what now?
Father Korsakov is a gentleman that we met 2 months ago, Iselina, roughly? 3? 3.
I would about closer to 3.
The beginning of April. He is a priest from Russia, but he's also a member of the Promethean Society.
At the mention of the Promethean Society, Clint kind of cocks their head and seems to be listening just a bit closer.
Well, his usual work with them, I do not... whatever they do. I do not know. But in this case, he was not either representing the Promethean Society per se, but more the... And she kind of cocks her head and looks the 2 of you up and down. He was aware that I was on this train and knew that certain individuals in Rome would be willing to request my assistance.
Now, how again is this father involved? What was his interest?
His interest is in protecting something. The item that you've managed to prevent from being taken off this train yesterday.
That's an interesting topic, that item. It came up in some conversations I had, too. More or less it was implied, but I don't usually talk much about my contracts. They're usually a vow between me and the solicitor.
A professional. I can respect that.
I do, however, hold some reservations for sharing some information when it becomes necessary to untangle some threads.
I do enjoy untangling thread. It's very relaxing. Pulling apart the giant knotted ball of yarn to see where each of the little threads goes and see how they connect to each other.
I typically don't have patience for all that. I'd just rather shoot that tangle. But
But if you shoot it too quickly, how will you know where the appropriate ends are? For example, the kind gentleman that you managed to save this object from, where do you think he came from?
well, that in and of itself has a couple of layers to it.
Yes, his public violence or whatever it is with the World Crime League. Honestly, this is very annoying to me.
Well, my
But
employer had some questions about something from Rome going up to Bayern and offered me quite a bit substantial for more information on it.
And who are your current employers that they would desire information from Rome?
Well, that's the interesting part. I'm not certain why they would ask me for more information if it didn't tie to my contract as it is. There's a plot. And if I don't get to finishing my contract, a very important man could die.
And you just see her have this moment of like considering going back and forth. Is there a location in general of which this very important man is tied to? Just because I'll be honest, there are some men that very, very important men that I wouldn't necessarily feel very bad about them expiring.
I don't typically pass judgment, but I can see why you're saying that.
I mean, okay, let's put it this way. And she'll look over at the captain. Captain, how many of your dear members of the World Crime League also are Prussian nationals? Because apparently the Prussian royal family has decided to get in bed with the World Crime League, as it were.
That's interesting. I wouldn't know how many of them are in league with them. Back when I met the World Crime League, we were in Africa.
Southern or northern?
Middle.
DM.
Yes.
Because I am less aware of the historical divisions right now of where Africa is in this world. Would we roughly, is like the Belgian Congo still a thing? Or are we dealing with, you know, in South Africa, Afrikaans? Is it,
That's an excellent question. let's see.
Wasn't
Sorry
I?
for being.
No, that's okay. When I met them, weren't we the Côte d'Ivoire?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so West Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sub-Saharan West Africa is kind of the area. But I'm just trying to remember who the major players are at that time.
Well, if it's
I thought it was French colonies.
yeah,
I
so
believe they were, yes. Well,
so they were
that's
still
why
French colonies.
there were still French colonies there, and that's why you were
Okay.
there. But I can't remember who all, because you were asking about the Belgian Congo. I believe it's still the Belgian Congo.
Okay.
Um,
But if he's talking Cote d'Ivoire and French colonies, that just kind of gives it in my mind. It's like, okay, yes, still massive colonies, but we haven't gotten to the whole literally dividing Germany into pieces yet, or dividing the continent of Africa into pieces yet.
no.
Okay. She'd turn back to the captain and say, "Well, apparently the Prussians are. I don't know. They're always Prussians, they're always problems, but now they're falling into bed with actual criminals."
It could be just worse than criminals, though. This is where that artifact comes in.
Yep.
I touched it last night after being grazed by a bullet. It doesn't look like I was grazed by a bullet.
No. But the good Saint Francis, according to the good father, chooses who he wishes to bless in that manner.
Well, suppose there were another order looking to unlock those secrets for their own purposes.
It would be a little difficult. Apparently, the item in question literally has enough control to determine its own usage and prevent and not act in a way or for one that it did not believe deserved it.
What if they're acting in league with the church in some way?
That's the point. It's not the church. Well, if we go on the stories of St. Francis himself, see? The dedication is not as much to the church as it is to the faith.
Mm.
And
here's the problem with faith. You can have enough of it and still not be a good person.
this is why the item in question makes its own decisions, and right now it's currently been entrusted to me to make sure that it arrives where it's supposed to go.
I'm afraid that the World Crime League is not who we're actually dealing with.
Oh, I'm quite sure we're dealing with a bunch of Prussians who want to undermine the political decision.
It's worse than that. I feel like we are dealing with the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn.
Honestly.
And I don't know too much about their aims, but I do know that they don't mix with life very well.
How do they feel about poisons? She says as she kind of takes a sip. By the way, Captain, can I have my pin back? I like that one.
Oh,
It's not as nice as this one, but that one, my
yeah.
brother gave me that one.
I'll hand her pin.
And she kind of twirls it and slits it right down the front of her dress.
So, just because I'm a little bit at a loss here, I know of the World Crime League, but what's this Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn or something?
I don't know too much about them other than they're another secret society here that deals with magic. There are rumors, like all secret societies, Would Clint know about their dealings with undead or trying to raise the dead?
Only what would be rumored, that some of them are rumored to have been dabbling in necromancy and trying to bring back the dead.
Okay. Yeah. So Clint would say only rumors about their dealings with magic and necromancy.
See, this is why you need to make sure that you don't dabble in things that are beyond your understanding. The dead stay dead, and eventually they go on to heaven.
That's why I'm worried about this artifact.
To my understanding, the artifact itself cannot do that. It can merely heal as it chooses, or as St. Francis chooses.
If this is dealing with magic, it could just be some sort of focus.
Could there be a way to corrupt the purpose of the statue?
Clint kind of like takes off his glasses, rubs his head, puts his glasses back on, takes a long drink.
Chris, based on what the Contessa knows about miracles in the faith of the church versus sorcery that she's kind of learned about in the last little while, is there a way for her to make a statement about that? I mean, if I have to, I can bump the sorcery.
With your base knowledge, the Contessa would find it highly unlikely. Primarily because sorcery, the existence of sorcery makes her I'm guessing, or let me ask the question. Does the existence of sorcery in which she's seen and witnessed now make her more or less convinced that miracles truly do happen?
To her, they're two different things.
Okay.
Because she's seen ways in which she sees, and again, I'm going to base part of this on like my own understanding of, and having grown up in a very Italian household, there's magic and then there's miracles, and you can go through steps, and there's a rite, and there's like words involved in magic, and there's processes, and miracles just happen.
Okay.
And that's like for her kind of.
Yeah. So for her, it would be that it's highly unlikely because they are two different things.
Yeah.
That to try and corrupt a miracle with magic would be like trying to, like the Philosopher's Stone, turn lead into gold. It's just, they're not the same thing.
Yeah. And so she'd say that. I don't think it works that way. They're just too different to be done.
If you'd like to play a card, I can give you a deeper reasoning. If you something.
I'm just double checking. Sorcery is mental, right? Yeah.
Mental. Yep. And you could also use education if you want to come at it from the religious and what she knows of that.
I mean, it's the same.
The same. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's the same. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So they're both good, and she'll play that 5 for it.
Since we're talking off of each other, can you add in my sorcery as a great?
Sure.
Since we're collaborating.
We can do that.
Yep.
So as you're having this conversation and kind of spitballing the different factors, the Contessa, you're more convinced after this conversation that maybe for certain circumstances, saints who were sullied in some sort of way miracles that are suspect. It's possible. But for someone who, like St. Francis, is considered an incorruptible, he walked the walk and didn't just talk the talk kind of saint.
Yeah, so I guess for her it'd be like if this was like Saint Augustine, maybe.
Yeah, like
because he, his famous "Give me chastity and give me constancy, but do not give it yet."
Yeah,
versus Saint Francis.
Exactly. There are saints who did wonderful works and are attributed with miracles, who also had very mortal pursuits, very worldly pursuits. The most worldly pursuit that Saint Francis had was one of compassion and of charity.
Yeah.
And so the conversation makes the Contessa is firmly convinced that it is not corruptible, and anyone trying will waste a lot of resources in doing so. But the both of you will also come to the conclusion that whoever people would have to believe that the artifact is incorruptible in order to not try.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think Clint would say something like, there are plenty of men who do things without knowing what they're doing.
This is true. Some of the most intelligent men I have ever met really try things without knowing anything about it. So, we have the World Crime League getting involved with the Prussian royal family. Well, the Prussian royal family getting involved with the World Crime League. The Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn looking at, necromancy. And the possibility of an assassination attempt on, well, a king?
Those weren't my words.
No, they're mine.
But, oh, God.
I was just going to ask which king? The king of...
Clint was about to say, I'm going to be a busy man when we get to Baron.
So am I.
Typically, I don't ask, but I might need some help.
I was about to ask for the same thing.
All right.
Because I think between you and the good captain over there, you're very good at... And she kind of side-eyes both you and the captain and looks you up and down. More physical actions.
You're not wrong there.
At that, Clint will take a drink.
I'm good at what I do. But if someone really wants to interrupt me, I'm much better not being where I'm supposed to be.
So, where are you supposed to be in a couple days?
At a very nice party with the Lady Strickers. The elder sister to one king of Bayern.
There aren't too many times in life you get to say this word, but that just seems like a big old whole bunch of serendipity.
Or faith.
And on that lovely segue, we're going to move into our midway break. Please stick around. We'll be back in 5 to 10 minutes or so.
All right. See you in a moment. And we're back, everyone. Hello.
So we left off in the parlor car with alliances being made between, or actually being more solidified between our group of drinking buddies who have shared some of their purposes on the train. Our cast has gone through their morning rituals, downloaded from the day before and the shenanigans in which they witnessed, and are now sussing out plots, more fiendish plots in the political realm of New Europa. We return to the Contessa and Clint, surmising that the artifact in their possession, the icon of St. Francis of Assisi, is incorruptible, but powerful, and could be wanted by many, many people.
So, Captain, are you willing to provide a little bit
Say of skin. Say of skin.
To provide a little bit of what?
well, you look like you can take care of yourself.
I can.
I'm very good at not needing to be in such a place or such a position. It's not usually what I do. But in this case, needs must.
So you're asking me to protect you?
If possible.
I had no plans once I reached Bayern, so this might be just more exciting.
I'm always good for excitement. Actually, I'm good for a lot of excitement.
Well, then one more reason for me to keep you alive.
Something you're good at, then.
I shouldn't have done that. I tried to make a slurping sound. It didn't work.
The slurping worked.
It didn't work in my mouth. Oh, all the fizz is getting to my nose. Not cool. All of that for a sound effect.
Yep.
I'll be alright. I'll be alright.
Okay.
Keep going.
So, yes?
Mm-hmm.
I can introduce you to some wonderful, charming people in Munich. Members of your royal family, apparently.
I've always wondered what they look like up close.
Sure, we can get you very close.
And all of a sudden, the captain's imagination goes wild.
Are you okay with this idea, excuse me, Signore Smallberg?
It's going to take some adjustment, I'm not going to lie.
It impacts your contract. I would not wish to do such for such a professional.
I'm not worried about the contract. Like I said earlier, I'm just worried about all the strings. I just want to make sure no one else is pulling them.
Oh, but that's the fun part. Someone else is always pulling strings, and it's to pull it out of their hands and watch them cry when it disappears from them.
If you catch them in time, I suppose that could be the outcome. I've seen the alternative.
I'm usually pretty good at what I do.
I trust that.
Any concerns on your side, Captain?
Well, the only thing I can see is, so long as I make it to Bayern alive, I'll be glad to be of assistance.
Is there a concern in that?
Well, just like the king, I am also the target of an assassination plot.
Do you have any weapons on you?
Well, not at the moment. They're in my luggage.
Oh, here. As she pulls the pin back out of her dress.
If they come for me, I don't think it'll be during a brawl or a skirmish. I think they'll make it look like an accident or kill me in my sleep.
That's such a horrible way to go. It's also so time-consuming.
I'm a light sleeper if you want me to sit up.
That could help. I sleep like a log.
Where did you spend the night, Signore?
I mean, a gentleman never kiss and tells.
That isn't true.
Well, I'm a gentleman, and I am not going to tell you.
As long as you had fun. You did have fun, right?
Oh, yeah. I said I wouldn't tell, but yes. Yes, the evening was quite pleasurable. The morning was a little bit awkward.
Well, that means something.
I'm sure there's all sorts of meaning in this. But
I woke up with a different person in the bedroom than I went in the first time. So
You do
nothing
sleep like a
too
log.
particular. Huh?
you do sleep like a log. I'd be worried for your life too.
Hence why you have to live every day like it's your last.
It's not.
I'll stay for the next day. You know?
I like planning for tomorrow and seeing it as the gift it is. But I like to plan for tomorrow and next week and next month and maybe 10 years down the road.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I've been living day to day myself, but
And at that, she kind of picks up her wine glass and turns and looks at Isolina and goes, "So they don't understand vendetta, do they?"
No.
as soon as you say that, Clint goes, "Oh, I have a very fine understanding of vendetta."
And then you know how to live for tomorrow and not today.
Exactly.
Clint
Do you know-
shrugs and leans back.
Do you know who's trying to kill you, Signore Capita?
The World Crime League.
There's many people. Is there one
In
specific reason, at least, or person?
I'm afraid I wouldn't know. They got to 2 of my men before we boarded the train. Actually got to 1 of them before we even managed to flee Africa.
I apologize for your loss, and I hope their souls get to heaven.
Well, their souls
Oh.
might. Mine will just be consigned to oblivion.
Now, why do you think that?
Because I'm an elf.
There's nothing that says that I am aware of that you do not have a soul and could not go to heaven.
No, it's how I was It's what I was taught when I grew up. We're not from here. We're not from this world. We don't obey the same laws as you. I only get this one life. I don't get an afterlife. I get nothing.
The Contessa looks oddly struggling with that, in a way.
I'm Fae. I'm not human.
Yeah, but there's nothing that says that Christ came to save all.
Didn't come into our world.
Did God not make you? God made everything. Then therefore God gave you a soul, and eventually you'll get to heaven. You might spend an extended period of time in purgatory, but you will eventually get to heaven.
I'm not going to debate metaphysical with you, Contessa, but when you reach your afterlife and you realize I'm not there, you'll see I was right.
You look at and you see that she's seriously struggling with that. Like fundamentally struggling with that.
Well, it will not happen tomorrow, at least.
Very true. Not tomorrow. Nobody's dying tomorrow. There's too much fun to be had in Geneva, and we need to get to Bayern.
Exactly. And there are many interesting people on this train, aside from the person that you work for, Clint. There is still the... Oh, I forget her name. What is her name? The person you slept with? That wanted to sleep?
Lady Maribel?
Lady Maribel?
Lady Maribel.
The one I slept with. She has a name, Miss Alina.
I did say I forgot her name. I said I forgot. My bad. Might be. She didn't want to sleep with me, so not my concern.
I didn't even think Isolina was there.
Not.
No, she'd already left.
I was already gone.
But it's a fair assumption to assume he slept with someone.
And if Clint didn't sleep with somebody, well, you know.
Oh, of course. If Clint doesn't sleep with somebody, someone has to pick up the slack.
The Contessa spent the night with a priest. Come on.
There will be smooches on this train.
My golly, there will be smooches. There is a Lady Maribel, who is from where again? Where is she a lady of? Or from?
Yeah, that's a question. Where is she from? At that, the Contessa kind of...
I look over at Clint because you're the last person to talk to her.
Lady Maribel is a place of wanton. That's all I got from her.
And that's when I turn around to look at the captain.
Oh, because you assume I need these things to... I like to keep an air of mystery about myself and about the people I meet.
Says the lavatory singer. Sorry.
Gonna throw that one out there.
Do you actually say that though?
No, but you can tell that Clint hard rolls his eyes.
Okay.
Like you hear it, like you basically you can hear it on his face.
Oh yeah.
Like Clint is not a judgmental man. And yet
the Contessa turns to the captain and says, "Well, I'm not in any way, shape, or form judging. I'm just... Look, I'll be entirely honest. She's not of any noble house that I'm aware of. And I'm aware of most of them on this continent. I mean, the ones that I'm not aware of are in Prussia and England."
Did Lady Maribel have an accent of some sort?
Kenny does not remember.
I'm sure you heard a lot of her voice last night, Capitan. I'm sure you could tell me.
She had a lovely voice, but
Not a discernible accent.
single syllables don't make for a good way to discern an accent. Or I should say vowels. Just
Obviously.
lone vowels.
And at that, you just see the Contessa just kind of roll her eyes. And not at you, but at Lady Maribel.
Now, I said I would not kiss and tell, and now you're making me spill all the beans. This is not how it's supposed to work. I don't think she's the enemy. I don't think she has anything special. I think she's just a passenger on this train, like the four of us, and not embroiled in some worldly conspiracy of assassination. She is just traveling.
At that, the Contessa will literally lean forward out of her chair and like reach and kind of tap your hand on your knee and say, "And that is why you're an object of assassination. You need to be more aware of these kind of things." And leans back.
I mean, I look over at Clint and I'm like, "You're just traveling, right, Clint?" I mean, I'm just traveling.
Yeah, I'm traveling.
And we're on this train, just traveling somewhere.
Go grill her for information if that's what you wish. All I know is that she reads Mary Shelley. She has a butler called something or some other. He's very burly and scary.
Did you get his name?
Yeah, something like get out of the room was what he said. I think he's called Herschel.
Herschel, interesting name.
Herschel and Maribel. Well, Maribel could be anybody. Herschel.
Did he have an accent? Or did you also not notice that from single syllables?
Chris.
Herschel did not have a distinct accent of any sort, but he had a very deep voice with it sounded like his words were not always easy to pronounce. Like he was working really hard to say words.
Here's another question. What language are you speaking to Lady Maribel in?
That's always a good one.
English. I didn't think I changed my language to anything else.
Okay, then she's very not as good as you would expect. She kind of says that under her mouth to Isolina.
All I know is that she knows what she wants, and she's not very shy about it.
And I have no judgment about that at all whatsoever.
It's not about judgments. I get the feeling that had the captain been in danger, it would have been it for him last night. And to be fair, there doesn't appear to be any subterfuge with Lady Maribel.
Here's the thing. Let's just say I know a woman who likes to travel around and have fun with other men on her travels. And let's just say she also has other motivations on those travels. So you forgive
all of this, the Contessa is just nodding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair. Let's just say that there is always another side to a coin.
Oh, hell. All I know is that you point and shoot and you're done.
That is very admirable of you. Clint, this is why we love you.
Clint, if that's all you're getting out of it, then we definitely need to introduce you to some better people. Point and shoot and you're done. That's just way too short a time.
Yeah. Clint, you have to take your time before you shoot. You have to point and then do a couple other steps before you shoot.
I'm talking about killing. I don't know what everyone else is talking about. I need another drink.
That's why we have
those right.
Clint actually goes for the door.
The key, and the Contessa's just like, waves the key.
I like to imagine there's not even a door knob there. It's just a hole.
Well, there is a bottle right there. And the Contessa is correct. The door is locked with the skeleton key.
I'm like on my third. I've started with my third glass of wine. I do not know what you have been doing.
I think I'm on my like probably third or fourth glass of the scotch. Are the windows openable? I think like Clint would like just kind of stick their head out or his head out just a little bit.
The window is openable.
No, I'm
Well-
not saying. No,
Oh, go ahead. No, you go.
I'm not saying that, of course, the Lady Marable is inherently going to be a problem. Just that one should, at this point, when you're dealing with people who are attempting to kill you, Captain, I can tell you from personal experience that this is the way you need to be. Expect everybody to be trying to kill you. And then be pleasantly surprised when they're not.
Oh, I expect one of you to kill me.
Well, le petit mort, possibly, but not really.
I probably will not.
That was
I'm not
dramatic.
in the. I'm not in the habit of killing anyone, so
It's not worth it for me to kill you.
Clint picks up his watch, flicks it open, turns the picture, or turns around and shows a picture. I am. You're not dead.
see. I think that is settled. We most likely none of us will kill you, unless you do something stupid. In which case, hard maybe.
I'll make you this promise. If someone wants you dead and they hire me, I'll give you a sporting chance.
No. Good to know.
And on that lively note, we're going to take a pause to officially thank Godless Lawyer for the donation. It was a lucky 7, or Fortune Smiles, which is a version of our lucky 7. One PC gets a 7 of any suit to play at their leisure. And I will pull a card, and I pulled the 5 of hearts. So this is the first time we've gotten to do this. You'll notice on the screen, each one of the frames of the players has a suit.
Woohoo!
It looks like Captain Von Brandt is all hearts. Simon, you have a 7 that you can play at any given time of any suit that you wish to bolster some sort of check.
All right.
Before we move on, though, that has actually given us $20 worth of donations by my calculations for this season, which is a dramatic revelation, and that one constantly builds, kind of like Stream Boss does. And so one random PC will gain a boost to 1 skill from average to good as a revelation of some sort of merit or strength about them. So let's see here who that's going to be as I deal another card. And that comes up as a 4 of clubs. And clubs is Clint Smolder. So, Kenny, think about which of your average skills is going to jump to good.
All right. I'll have to peruse the book real quick.
No problem.
Vengeance seeking. Awesome. Thank you so much again, Godless Lawyer.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, so was there any questions you were going to ask on live while we were on break?
No.
No, because we talked about some
Oh.
stuff. I don't know if we wanted to do anything.
The only thing I was going to ask now, when Clint turned the picture and showed it to the captain, is if we saw that. Or if any of us recognized who that person was.
I'd say
And-
it's enough quarters that you would have seen it, but it is not someone that anyone would have recognized.
Okay.
Doesn't mean I don't commit it to memory.
Yeah, same thing. It's like,
I think Clint will have increased his courage.
Okay.
Yeah, welcome to the Courage Club.
I mean, between getting up on the top of a train twice and a variety of other things that Clint has done in the short, less than 24 hours, I think that's a very fitting choice.
Yeah.
However, Godless Lawyer does have a point. If you could have boosted lavatory singing in particular.
I mean, performance is also an option.
However, I feel like that would be more appropriate for Captain Von Brunt.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again. We will resume our conversation with a knock at the door.
Is this a solid door?
Yeah, it's also locked.
Yeah, as you answer, Clint will put their hand on the holster of their gun.
Yes?
You'll hear Esme say, "I think I figured it out."
Ah. And she'll kind of get up and walk to the door and unlock it. And standing behind the... Okay, is it a swing door or is it a slide door? Because most of the trains I've been on, it's a pocket door.
Yeah.
She's going to stand as she slides the door open behind the door as it keeps going. Ah, Esme. And kind of take a look up and down the train as she opens it.
There's a few more people in the parlor car. I mean, you're towards one end, so there's really the door back toward the sleeping cars. There's nothing outside of it just being a little bit more populated than normal.
Okay. Come in, dear. Come in. Isolina is Esme.
Oh. Did you finally figure out your...
Yes, and she'll kind of plop down on the floor between everyone, and she lays out a number of pages, and you see scrawled on them a bunch of different, well, it looks like schematics and designs, and she's kind of overlapping them atop one another until it makes this, the schematic displaying how she believes the thief put together, or whoever it was that put it together for them, the explosive device into the cane and how it works.
And as she comes in, the Contessa closes and locks the door again.
Okay. Because of how she plopped down, you're kind of you're going to have to step around and possibly over things to get back to your window seat.
Oh, she would do that very daintily and kind of making sure not to step on any of the papers.
Okay.
But sit down and then pick up her drink, and while Clint and Isolina may have been 3 or 4 in, she's still sipping the first one.
Okay. Von Brunt, that's a great question. Have you finished that bottle and opened the second one yet?
Of scotch?
Yes.
No, not. I think it's only Clint and I that are drinking from that bottle, so I think I probably am at my 3rd or 4th glass at this point.
Okay.
And definitely, as soon as she puts them down and starts explaining what it is, I pick up the papers and I go through each one, half understanding what I'm looking at, because let's be honest, I'm not the technician of the family.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen enough of these to understand kind of what's happening. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, huh. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. And you just figured this out now. I put the papers back down.
And she'll kind of spread them back out and kind of point at what said, well, it took me a little while to deduce it just from the insides of the cane. I hope nobody wanted that. I cut it open.
No, I didn't really feel need for it. I mean,
Okay,
the
good.
captain may have wanted it to hide that pin.
It didn't really look like it fit anyway. but I could fashion something up if you really needed me to. And then she goes back to them and she goes, you see, what they did, and it was kind of an ingenious design, is they filled what looks like a tube, a copper tube, with this substance. It wasn't what I thought it was. It smelled similar because there are similar chemicals to what your parents had created, darling, but they filled it with a certain number of chemicals that would actually, when mixed together, can combine and conduct with the copper, and it would burn through eventually. And once it got hot enough, first it actually magnetizes and electrifies, and then when it gets hot enough, it continues to burn right through the metal, and it just eats away at it.
Well, that is truly.
Pauses, and she kind of looks up at everybody and goes, does anybody actually want me to continue?
Why, yes. I would actually like to know how they managed to get into the safe.
Well, you see, it takes a little while to burn in, and because of how long it took, I have a feeling that it's possible that when you chased them back there, that it hadn't finished its process. And so they actually unlocked it, went inside, stole what they were stealing, and that's how the costume or the conductor's uniform ended up under the door. Because they closed it behind them, and about then is when it actually completed, and the jostling of the door forced it to fall inward when they closed it. At which point, it looks like it crushed a conductor that didn't ever actually exist.
Brilliant.
And I don't know if that part was on purpose or because the two gentlemen here were swift-footed and made chase.
They do have wonderful physiques.
She said it, not I.
I don't like how smart these thieves are.
And
I think
organized.
I think you have to be if you're going for such a large target.
Yeah. There's just a lot of planning that went into this.
For it not to work, which I do believe will mean there are going to be some very upset people.
Right.
What?
The one thing I forgot to mention, they did manage to end the previous escort for this item.
Wait, what do you mean?
So remember the gentleman's hat with the prayer to St. Joseph in it?
Yeah?
Wasn't his hat to begin with. It was the gentleman that was originally providing escort for this item.
Huh. Well, then these people are. What is the word? Persistent. But yet still not successful.
I have a feeling when we reach Bayern, we'll find out just how angry they are.
I make men angry at me all the time. It's fun.
It just means we know what to look for now. At least somewhat. Do you have any connections in Bayern, Contessa or Capitan?
Well, I know who I'm going to meet. Captain?
I have my close family, and that's it. I was going there to hide, mostly. Wait until things lie down.
Oh
and
no,
then be
Captain.
deployed again.
Oh no, Captain. What you need is never to hide. It's to be seen.
I'm afraid this won't change a lot to their plans.
No. It's much harder to be assassinated if you are very public with everywhere you are. And you make yourself known to be there.
Well, that depends.
I said harder. I didn't say it was impossible.
No, I was just trying to find the nature of these people trying to kill you. How do you know they're hunting you?
They've hunted down through two of my men already.
I don't mean to be indelicate, but how'd they die?
Accidents. Or at least it was made to look like an accident. We saw something in Africa that I think we shouldn't have seen. And they saw us and they gave pursuit. Took me some months to get out of Africa. Took the long route out because they had already they were already in control of the port, or at least the closest one I was in. So they also shot at me, or at least tried to shoot me down as we were running away. So I don't think it was all accidents for the two other people.
But that does tell me something. It tells me that they don't want to get caught with a public death. Murder.
After a while, they might just not care.
Which is why you need to be seen in public with someone of appropriate standing.
That might be enough to scare them off.
At least for now.
Or get more clever with their accidents.
Yes, but... And you just kind of see the Contessa just kind of side smirk, and, you know, when they get clever with accidents, that means they have to get closer. And I have always found that if they're close enough to stab you, you're close enough to stab them.
Well, the secret for me is not to let them get close enough to stab anything.
Also true. But, Captain, you are well known, no? Do you have a family in Bayern?
I still have my sister, which is where I was hoping to hide.
So you are traveling, and now we just need to make it more public that you're traveling to Bayern. That you are escorting a lady of nobility as she's through your fine country, as she has an appointment with various other members of important people of your nobility, no?
Well, I haven't been discharged from the Foreign Legion yet, but I figure I can take on some mercenary work from time to time. Hopefully the news won't get to Paris fast enough that I'll have to answer some court-martial.
Out of curiosity, exactly who is in your commanding officer?
It is a... Wow, I'm not super good at 19th century martial hierarchy. What's above a captain? Is it a general?
Well, it'd be the commandant, but
Commander. Yeah, that could make sense.
Commandant, probably. In France, at least.
Yeah. Oof, not that name. Sorry, the first name that came to mind was Commandant Jean-Luc Picard. And I was like,
no.
That doesn't work.
He has wine now. It could work.
Commandant René Boissy.
Yeah. Well, I'm not on a first-name basis with the Monsieur Boissy, but there are some people in France, in Paris, who owe me a lot of favors.
You do have a lot of threads.
It's what I do, darling. You pull them fast enough, and they become yours. And they can't be used against you. Now, who was it? That very nice commandant of police, yes. I'll send a message and say that I appropriated one of his fine upstanding officers as an escort. And I'll give him back eventually.
I don't think the police has anything to do with that.
Well, it's also, there's the Viscount and possibly a couple ambassadors, and trust me when I say if I do it the right way, it'll work. At least for now.
Well, I'm not going anywhere anyway.
So we keep you alive, we keep me alive, we prevent... I don't think we keep whoever Signore Smolder is dealing with alive.
There's an abstract plan in there somewhere.
We get to Munich. Iselina and Esme enjoy their wonderful honeymoon. We introduce them to a couple members of the Bayern royal family, and we have a good time. Anything I missed? Oh. There is a... You said, Monsieur Debussy?
Boissy.
Boissy? Well, okay. So I don't necessarily know the commandant, but the Viscount knew a colonel. That works, right? That's higher than a captain.
I'll assume so. I'm not great at...
You would know that a colonel is actually 2 steps above a commandant as well.
Okay.
1 step below a general.
That works.
I mean, Bertrand was fun. For a Frenchman.
I have no idea what that's supposed to mean.
Well, he wasn't an Austrian duke. Much more fun than the Austrian duke. So I'll message Colonel Bertrand and let him know that I'm borrowing you, and I'll give him back. Eventually.
You make me feel like an object, Contessa. That's not
All
me
people
complaining.
are objects.
I was going to say, wait.
Yeah.
This is what makes you feel objectified? Like, of all the things that Captain Von Braun has done throughout his life, right here is what objectifies.
That's where I
him.
draw the line.
Okay.
Too far, man. Too far.
So I will.
A baseball card, and you're not having it.
So I will message from Geneva and let Colonel Cortot know that you are providing a service.
How long do we before we get to Geneva or Munich, for that matter?
Well, we have to change trains in Geneva. This is a 2-day journey to Geneva, and this is the 2nd day, and then we go to Munich.
It's just after dinner time. You're expected to be there around 7:30 local time in Geneva.
Okay. Good?
All right. Anything I can help you with, Signore Smolder?
Other than just being eyes, I can be your gun.
Well, I appreciate that. Not very good with those things. I mean, Isolina is. Very much so.
Something tells me you have the wits for it, though.
I can shoot if I have to, but it's not my preferred method of dealing with problems.
No, always a front door, never the back.
Exactly! Why would I want to go through a back door? Not that kind.
Sometimes it's the choice entrance.
Oh, but I want to always be seen and be the center of attention. If you go through the back door, you're never the center of attention.
If you want to take them by surprise, you go through the back door.
Yeah, sometimes the front is a surprise also.
I mean... And she just kind of looks, shakes her head and goes, it's been my experience that sometimes you can be very surprising if you just stride through the front door or the bedroom door.
Fair enough. Clint's kind of nonplussed by all of that and like grabs it, like pours himself another drink. I think he's on his 5th.
Have I shocked you, Signore Smolder?
Oh, not at all.
Oh, good.
But you may have charmed me.
Even better. I enjoy charming. I enjoy being charming.
You're good at it too.
It is a talent I've cultivated.
You've done a good job.
So, Esme, you said it probably took a little extra time. Could you guess at exactly how long it would have taken to, go boom?
Based
Roughly?
on my calculations, and I'm not normally wrong about these things, I would say about 17 minutes and 37 seconds for the chemical reaction to happen correctly, adhere to the door, and burn all the way through.
Could the Contessa guess how long it was between us finding the exploded door and when we first encountered the hedgehogs?
I'd say 3-ish minutes.
Between the first encounter of the hedgehogs in the dining room?
Oh, the first encounter?
Yeah.
Oh, the first encounter, it would have been a while.
Okay.
It would have been longer than 17 minutes. The first encounter, you guys did a number of things before getting back to the baggage area.
Yeah.
You went to the bar. I would say at least an hour or more.
Okay, because then her comment is, so we know that the hedgehogs weren't at least the intentionally part of that destruction. The timeline is too long.
Exactly.
The hat probably got knocked over.
Yeah, still. And she pulls out the hat band again. Signore Korsakov, Monsignore Korsakov did not recognize any of it. Do either of you? It is not one I am familiar with, other than the fact that I could find the runes to cut it and make sure portal didn't continue.
Clint will burn a card for sorcery to look at the runes.
Okay. They're magical. They're portal magic. Beyond that, I mean, they're inert now, and some of the magic is even faded and started to disperse from the hat band. It's not intrinsically woven into the item. It looks like it was placed upon the item. So it would have had a shorter duration, not necessarily like minutes or hours, but weeks or months rather than what could be years. So it was crafted for a short-term sort of circumstance and not for a long-term circumstance. But
If Clint kind of looks a little bewildered, and it's like, if I ever understood sorcerers or why they do what the hell they do, seriously, this object as a portal to a place that hedgehogs live, I don't understand the reasoning.
Neither did I, but
If it wasn't for distraction, well, they got kind of a boon.
how long between the flash of light that we saw in the dining car before we got back to the... Because when that was when the kid came through and we decided to go specifically to the luggage car. When the captain and I were registered that it was magical, but we didn't know what it was.
I would say that's closer in time, but
still
ballparking at that point. So
yeah,
it could have been, but it might not. Like, there's no definitive calculation there.
So for her mental math, it's the portal of hedgehogs is definitely not intentionally tied to the robbery.
Yeah, or the burning of the door.
Or the burning of the door.
Yeah.
But she's not sure about the flash of light. That could or could not.
It might or might not be related.
Yeah.
The timing's close enough that it might be, but it also, a number of strange things have happened on this train. It could be completely separate.
So she'll just put a pin in that one.
Okay.
So,
if we're really concerned about the reason and origin of these hedgehogs, I could always ask my contact.
Something magical happened on this train, and then there was a robbery. I'm more concerned about, well, if there's a magician running around who might be willing to assist in furthering this robbery, who's still on this train.
That's where we get into a little bit of a sticky spot. See, if I bring up the robbery, that's implying that there was something to be stolen.
That is true. Well, she did not know anything about the bright light either. It was apparently not long enough.
But, I mean, do you have to connect the hedgehogs to the robbery?
No, I don't. But there are lots of pieces. I could just leave out the robbery, but if we're interested in finding a magician who could be perpetrating something a little bit more devious. But I can leave that out and see what she says.
It is your contract. I do not mess with another professional.
No, I want to keep to my word.
You, Captain? How are you dealing with this idea?
I'm starting to think that I should head over to the luggage compartment and get my weapons, just in case.
I recommend that. Oh, make sure you don't cut yourself on that one.
On what?
That pin.
Oh, I won't need the pin.
Oh, okay, so in that case, I'll take it back.
How about you have the conductor get your things? Luggage compartments are notorious for accidents.
Something could be not tied down correctly.
That's assuming I'm going there alone.
would you like to take with you?
You know what? Chris, draw a card.
Okay.
As long as it's not a heart.
It was a heart.
Do you want to draw again?
Can you draw again?
Yeah, I can draw.
I mean, I got a 75% chance here. Clint. I'll need your eyes and your quick shot in case something happens.
All right.
Don't go off too quickly.
We can hang out for a little longer.
It wasn't what I meant.
And at that point, Esme will kind of like lift up what looks like the bottom, the tip of the cane, and on the inside of it, which you wouldn't have been able to see before because of the rest of the cane was there. It's just the metal tip, but on the inside you'll see a mark. It's a symbol. And she'll say, "Does anyone know what this is?"
Does it look familiar to anyone?
Yeah, does it look familiar?
It looks familiar to the lady detectives. After you looked into things post your excursion with the poisoner, this is the rumored symbol of the Congress of the Iron Master.
And the Contessa will literally turn to Isolina and go, you know, I wish I knew about the man who had this many people obsessed with him.
I do too. I mean, honestly, somehow, some way, here we are.
Captain, not in that same manner. You just have people trying to kill you. This individual had people trying to worship him and kill in his name.
I mean, I've never had someone kill in my name, but worship me, I mean, wouldn't be that far off from the truth.
And she'll switch languages to French and say, Monsieur, the individual who was doing the killing was a member of your opposite family line.
Von Brandt just becomes serious.
And she'll switch back to English and say, the gentleman that we encountered, Isolina will support me in this, right, Isolina?
Yes.
Was a member of the Unseelie who liked to change his appearance, all in service of one Iron Master.
And the thing about the Master is that they were pushing for a war.
Seems to me killing a king's a good way to start a war.
And he had some strong ties to Prussia.
Well, ain't that something?
You would have, Von Brandt, you would have heard rumors from the others from Bayern and the Rhineland city-states who joined the French Foreign Legion of recruits that deserted, that they were recruited away by the Iron Master. They were only rumors at the time.
But now that I see the sign...
Well, that, and you know that there actually is an Iron Master.
And these people that I've heard rumors of wanting to join with the Iron Master. Were any of them Fae?
No, none of the ones that you've heard of, and you only actually knew one of any of the ones that were rumored to have, that deserted abruptly.
Mm-hmm.
That rumors about that came up, and her name was Hedel Spriggan.
Can you spell that for me?
Yes, Hedel.
Uh-huh.
Spreggen.
That sounds like a Fae name.
She didn't seem to be Fae.
I don't know
But-
if that's Spriggan.
I mean, you got to know her pretty well, at least for a night or two.
I would have known if she was Fae then.
Yes.
Like, I mean, at some point.
So
Plus
if
with
her
lights on.
family line somewhere along the way had any connection to the Fae, and that's why the name sounds so familiar, that's possible. But it could also be a family line who that's part of the heritage that they try to adopt, or the name that they just took. It's not uncommon for people to change their names.
So I heard rumors of that Iron Master before. I've encountered someone who, rumor has it, deserted to join them. Up until today, I wasn't so sure that they existed. I thought it was just a boogeyman. An excuse to get away from the front lines.
Unless it is weirder than that. I mean, I should have known. I should have done more research. I should have known. The moment I saw war, I should have known. Maybe that's why I wanted to come here. Somehow, I just knew. This was where everything was going to happen. Well, this gives us more insight into what to look for now.
It's also interesting that one who had public claim to the World Crime League, an organization, she says, almost sneering the term, that has negative ties to our good captain here, also less publicly had ties to a much more zealotous organization who also has ties to our good captain here.
Captain, you seem to be in the eye of a very complicated storm.
And it all happened by happenstance. Really, I did not mean to get mingled in all that. Or to meddle in all that, yeah.
Well, if nothing else, here we are. And you find yourself in the company of people who are in the know of these kind of thing.
I see that.
True. And the other secret, Signore, is when you're in the center of the storm, stay in the center of it. The eye is always the calm. It's the outsides of the storm that are the problem.
In the eye, you always get to see. Okay. Well, we have... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, on that prophetic note, we're going to actually call it a night. And we will pick up next week with more pondering as to what to do next and another foray to the luggage car. I want to thank our audience. I want to thank my wonderful players and Simon and the Wandering DM channel for hosting this game. And I turn it over to you, Simon, for outros.
Yes. Aha. I now have a chill bot. A shill bot.
Nice.
So even if I forget to shill, it'll happen by itself. Hey, thank you, Chris, for jamming tonight. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Thank you, the players, for playing in this wonderful game. Thank you for people in chat. Thank you for those of you watching on YouTube, on the VOD. Thank you for the donations. This is greatly appreciated. I am, of course, Wandering DM. This is my channel. We will see you again tomorrow for some Vampire the Masquerade at 1 p.m. Eastern, right here. And then on Monday, you can find me over on Role Players, where I GM Age of Arcana, my homebrewed campaign setting. And then on Tuesday, we will return with some Dark Matter. But before we end this stream tonight, before we go raid one of our friends, let's just go around the table, tell us who you are, where we can find you on the internet. And I will start with PB.
Hi, I'm PB from at PB Plays Inside. You can find me over on Twitch and Twitter. At that name, I do variety streaming on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays now, in between the hours of 5 p.m. Central Standard Time and later. Follow me on Twitter to find out exactly when that is. We're a little bit wishy-washy with the times right now because I'm trying to figure out when the best time for the audience is. I do variety gaming, and also I am in the process of like practicing and learning how to do fantasy map making. So there's going to be a lot more of that on the stream. You can follow me on Instagram at pbplaysinside to see the progress I make in the small little maps I do on stream. And I am on a show on Saturdays, also over on Experience Points. We're playing Starfinder. We're doing the Dawn of Flame adventure path, which is a ton of fun. There's a lot of fire and a lot of yeeting and a lot of just so many things that I like words cannot describe. So if you're interested in that, go follow that channel and see us at noon Eastern Central Time. That's one of those times. Yeah, exactly. And on Mondays, you can find me over on the Greyhawk channel, playing some of the Grove Where We Met, in which we are all just people who lost their memories, and now we're being told to do things with a door and protect it with our lives, and we're confused, but hey, it's what we're doing. That's at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time over on the Greyhawk channel.
Cool. Out of curiosity, what software do you use for your map making?
I'm doing it by hand.
Oh, shit, you're drawing it.
Yeah, I'm drawing it. Yeah, I've tried to do it on digital. It's just, it doesn't translate from my brain to what I'm seeing. I'm not very good on digital. So I'm doing it by hand because that makes me feel happier on the inside.
Well, that's cool.
That's awesome.
Next up is Deirdre.
Oh, hey, all. You know me. I'm at Deirdre Donlan on Twitter, or Praxagorthosmephoria, as you see me hanging out in the Twitch chat. I love this game. It makes me happy on Friday nights. But if you want to see me get really happy Saturday, I get to run the Vampire the Masquerade Nightfall in New York game. And we are going to be apparently dealing with there are a bunch of Bruja who are going to be showing up. They get to choose what they're going to do with it. Also, Herschel, who's the Nos living in the basement and creepy staring at people. Just for that joke and why I may have almost fallen out of my chair laughing. Will be.
Nice. That was randomly generated on my part.
And you can find me, always check my Twitter, I post where I'm going to be, but you can find me on Monday for some more Age of Arcana. Things are fun. I get to have fun. But yeah, check my Twitter. I'll post where I was going to be, and I will see you all back here on Friday.
Thanks. And Kenny, where can we find you?
Hi, my name is Kenny. You can find me on Twitter at Punderdrone. I play on the Experience Points channel. I DM the Saturday game that PB mentioned. I figured out the time maths. Time maths, they are hard. 11 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, and 2 p.m. Eastern. Every other Saturday, so not this Saturday, but next Saturday. If you missed that, we publish them as podcasts that come out every Wednesday. You can find out more information on our Twitter at EQ Points.
Cool. And Chris, where can we find you?
Hi, everyone. I'm Chris Geary. You can find me here Friday nights as the host of Adventures in Castle Falkenstein. You can find me on Twitter at the handle that you see on the screen, at Chris Geary. I am also a part of the Shattered Eye, which is currently on hiatus. As soon as we have a schedule for our relaunch of that show, I'll go ahead and share that as well. A few other things in the works that might be popping up here in the future, but nothing set in stone just yet. Cool.
This stream was sponsored by Magen Press. I didn't forget the shill, don't worry. Store.magenpress.com. You can use coupon code WanderingDM for 15% off, and you can get a variety of things such as Dark Matter, Taverns and Tankards, the Complete Alchemist, the Complete Craftsman, if you want to have new classes, new spells, new monsters, new campaign settings to play with. And they are also coming out with sort of 3 new campaign settings in 1 book soon. I don't think I'm allowed to say more than that. So keep an eye out for that.
The art's out. There's art up for it.
There's art out, but I don't think I'm supposed to talk more about the project than that.
True.
Before we leave, let's go raid Jess at Little Cup of Joe. She's currently playing Monster Prom, so it's a whole bunch of smooching, but instead of on a train, it's in a high school. So let's just go, and we will see you again next week. Bye-bye.